Hello. I thought it was about time that I gave you a tour around Bristol to demonstrate the variations in the Bristol accent. Now, I'm from the north of the city, so I thought we'd start off in the north, in a district just up the hill from where I grew up, Southmead. Southmead, we tend to speak a bit like this. A lot of the blokes in Southmead, I always remember when I was a teenager walking through the grounds of Blaise Castle, a great big burly meter came up to I and said, "You're bastard features, want a scrap?" Naturally I said no. Anyway, moving on from Southmead, another district very close to where I grew up, a little bit further to the centre, Westbury-on-Trym. Now, Westbury-on-Trym has more middle class pretensions than Southmead, and a lot of people from Westbury-on-Trym tend to speak in sort of a way which I would describe as Bristolian. They can't hide the Bristol accent, but they take great care in their enunciation of every consonant, so they do not drop their H's when they say, "I have put my hat on," or etc, etc. Now, moving on from Westbury-on-Trym, another district in the north of the city, rather upmarket area, Stoke Bishop and Snake Park, which is quite close to Stoke Bishop, you will find that the Bristol accent disappears almost completely. A lot of people there tend to be managers or financiers, and they speak what many would describe as standard English in a rather business-like way. And moving on a bit further central towards the fashionable district of Clifton, again, there will be a great many people there who don't speak with a Bristol accent, but they have a more, affected version of standard living English, because there's a lot of media types who tend to live in, and well-paid media types who tend to live in Clifton, and so on. Now, not far from Clifton, again a little bit to the north, but two districts fairly central, are Bishopston and St Andrews, where especially the young people, I suppose they're districts which are a little bit middle class, but they think it's a bit not very cool to speak with a Bristol accent, and they don't think it's very cool to speak posh, so they develop this sort of, a lot of them are would-be musicians in rock bands, etc, etc, and they sort of develop this sort of hybrid accent which is a cross between Bristolian and estuary English, and doesn't sound like anything else on earth. Anyway, from there, let's move over to the south of the city, Ashton and Bedminster. You'll find a lot of Bristol City fans live in this area, I should say, because it's, the Bristol City ground is in Ashton Gate, and Bedminster's near Ashton, etc. And it's a sort of softer version of the accent, but the thing about Bristol City fans is that they moan a lot about their team. Oh, you can hear them talking, saying, "Oh, we was 5-0 up with 5 minutes to go. How did he miss that sitter from 35 yards? We might need that extra goal when it comes down to goal difference at the end of the season." This is in contrast to Bristol Rovers fans who say, "Oh, I think we can take a lot of positives from the fact that our team's going down to the conference for next season." Anyway, leaving that aside, the final part of Bristol I want to take you to is Norwest. Norwest is further south than Bedminster and Ashton. What was I saying? Ashton, Bedminster, and they've got a unique way of speaking in Norwest. It's sort of different from most parts of Bristol, and if you want to hear a true Nor'wester speaking, just watch a video of Tricky.
watch a video tricky. You've got the perfect Northwest accent. There's one part of Bristol I've forgotten, because I did live in East Bristol for 20 years in St George, and a bit further east of St George is Hanham, where the famous comic TV writer Stephen Merchant comes from, and it's difficult to say. I'm not quite sure whether I can demonstrate a typical East Bristol accent. I know Stephen is a great friend of Ricky, and he tends to speak very, very fast when he's talking and all the rest of it, but I'm not sure whether his way of speaking is accurate demonstration of East Bristol accent. But anyway, there we are. Okay, I think that concludes my tour of the variation in Bristol accents around the city.